Mike Mouse, I'm from Connecticut. I'd like to compliment Mrs. Green. I watched Martin Olson's blog, and it's a shame that I get more information from Martin Olson's blog than I do the repository, the Independent, or the Akron Beacon Journal. But that's a sad state of media right now. But having said that, Mrs. Creighton, on his blog, you stood up during, I guess, the last commission meeting and explained why you voted a certain way. When I was in political office and being a retired school administrator, I tended to do the same thing because I think you owe it to the people you represent to explain your vote rather than yes or no, just slide right on by. Nobody knows. My question was, when you look at the economic impact, what did you find? Because Mr. Ferguson, there was something in the paper just shortly that the median family wage in Stark County is going down, not up. So if you put a sales tax increase, that seems to suggest that you're saying that the good times are back and the people can afford this.
No, I don't think so at all.
Then what you're doing is you're creating a negative impact on people's incomes going down. I believe a sales tax is a regressive tax, is it not? It's not a progressive tax. Meaning a regressive tax means it hits the people hardest who are least able to afford it. And I hear constantly when public officials say, this is just a small teeny tax. But then that small teeny tax there's an increase in the school levy, there's an increase in city taxes, there's an increase in other taxes. And all those small teeny taxes, they start to mount up. Now, no one looked at the economic impact of this sales tax?
Mr. Mouse.
Okay.
Sure.
Mr. Mouse, and again, we had this conversation when we were at Lawrence Township when we had a commissioners meeting, and it was more of an open forum. Just want to explain that today's hearing is really a public hearing. The purpose of this is to take input from the citizens of Stark County and their comments with regard to it. It's not necessarily an answer, a question and answer type of session. We're glad, again, as I told you, at Lawrence Township, and we had to shorten some of your questions and some of your comments. We'd like to give everybody an opportunity to discuss this. We're more than glad to discuss this.
Isn't that a polite way of asking me to sit down? People I'm talking to in my neighborhood, they're not thrilled at this idea, particularly 0.5%.
I will make one comment. Mr. Mouse, this is exactly why we are putting it on the ballot. We are not imposing a tax upon anyone. I am giving you, as a voter, and all the constituents of this county to make an informed decision based on the information that we will provide. If it is an economic impact on someone negatively or positively, they will make that decision. But I believe that I am doing the right thing by presenting the facts and letting you make your own decision, sir.
And again, Ms. Green, I have to compliment you on that approach because in a short span of, I think, two and a half years ago, there were 3 commissioners sat right up there and they imposed it. Mike, and I'm sort of curious, when that occurred, I don't recall, Mr. Marcelli, I believe you were in the room at the time. Were any of these 3 commissioners here at the time? I'm sort of disappointed because a blind man could have told you that what Mr. Bosley was proposing was going to have a negative impact and was going to hurt just exactly what you're trying to do now. In whatever shape or form, he left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, and it was joined by 2 other people. How much is owed in back taxes, in property taxes? How much is owed to the county in that? Do we have a number? Because I heard it was in the millions. And what are we doing to collect those back taxes? Does anybody know?
I don't have the figure.
$40 million.
$40 million.
And they are making an attempt to collect it. Some of it is uncollectible. There's an aggressive program that is a collaboration between the treasurer, the county prosecutor, to go after those individuals and to try to make some of those things whole. But Mr. Mouse, there are some people, unfortunately, that are not responsible citizens.
this isn't safe for anybody. The Stark County Jail is full of felons. There's very few misdemeanors in there, if any, right now. Yet, we have to tell those officers, I'm sorry, we can't afford to pay for your backup. We can't afford to pay for anything, really. Just 3 days ago, I'm a reserve at the Sheriff's Office. The county was generous enough, since we have a quartermaster system and we have gear that's been accumulated over the years, to let us reserve deputies that were laid off from the Sheriff's Office to keep some of our gear so that we could work extra jobs, give back to the county since we're donating our time at this point. 3 days ago, I was given a letter in the mail saying that we have to return our bulletproof vests that we were issued a long time ago. They were specifically fitted to us, I might add. You know what happened? You know why they're making us return those vests? Because the full-timers, the people that are still there, making their living and everything like that, don't have their vests are expiring. We don't have the money to pay for their own bulletproof vests now. Something's got to give. We have to make sure that the people that are still there actually are protected.
To voice our support of placing the 0.5% issue on the ballot in November. And our reasoning rests in our considerations for the safety and security of the citizens of this county. We believe that without the voters having an opportunity to address the 5%, 0.5% tax increase, that safety and security, well, in our belief, is jeopardized at this point in time, but would be even further jeopardized in the future. I don't know if anybody caught the article. I don't know if it was just online today or in the hard copy of the Rep, but the situation is going to change in the county. The legislation that is likely to be passed is going to release vast numbers from our Ohio prisons, and the responsibility for the corrections of those individuals who aren't going to be in our prisons is going to be in our community. It's going to be a community-based problem, and without the availability of jail beds, we will be in a dire situation in our view, in making the types of decisions that we need to make to ensure the safety and security of the citizens of this county. And that is the responsibility that we are charged with, and we certainly need the resources available to do that job for the people of this county. And I believe that that is the impact that needs to be seriously considered here. Judge Haas, did you want to add anything else? Thank you.
Well, I would just add, Judge Haas, I would just add that it is already impacting us. The reductions that we've been forced to make, primarily because of the fact that the jail limits the number of individuals because of the corrections officers that had to be laid off that you've heard about earlier. So that results in fewer individuals being able to go to jail. Every day we are asked to review those individuals with whom we have responsibility as to whether or not we can release them because we're over the limit that can be in there legally. And that is one of the most difficult things we are called upon to do. It's a real thing. Somebody that's charged with domestic violence that may well go out and reoffend. Those are the decisions we are already making on a daily basis. And now we find out that the state, to save money, wants to send individuals back to the county where there is no room in the inn. So we are faced with, they don't want them in prison, they can't take them into jail. We're being put in an untenable position.
The duration of this levy has not been addressed yet. Have the commissioners given that some thought? Or I think that's going to be a key factor in voters' minds, how long this levy is going to be up for. Richard Curry from Parkville, you mentioned at the start of your comments today that the duration of this levy has not been addressed yet. Have the commissioners given that some thought, or I think that's going to be a key factor in the voters' minds, how long this levy's going to be up for.
I agree.
And one other thing regarding the county jail week process, inmates from other counties in Stark County Jail. I recall some conflict in the paper sometime back about not getting paid by some other governmental agencies.
And sir, if I may ask you, do you have an opinion about the duration?
My gut instinct is if you're going to put it on the ballot, you better put it on permanent.
Sully, average citizen from DeVar, Ohio. I want to know where the sheriff is. Is he going to be involved in this campaign? I mean, I miss him calling me stupid, telling me if I don't like it, go somewhere else and live. With all due respect to you guys, I like all three of you, but this is a campaign to build trust. But honestly, from my opinion, it looks like it's a campaign for a sales tax increase. Two of you, mentioned before the election that you were for this, so I just want to be honest and build more trust, I think. Raising our taxes should be a last resort, and especially in this economy. I think every voter is going to look at and ask themselves, did the commissioners, did our public officials shake down this county, save where they could, as union contracts been negotiated, that we just cut out some of the freebies, the 500 cell phones the county. I know that's not a big thing in the budget, but it's symbolic. It's symbolic to the voters. The problem, I think, with solving this projected budget crisis with the tax increase is it won't be long before we'll need another.
I'm retired and I haven't had a raise and increase in the last 2 years. Amongst that times, my township taxes have gone up, schools have gone up, my gas bill has gone up. But what's happened over the years, the county and city employees keep getting their raises. And the fellows that are working in the mill are losing their jobs. Now the deputy here that got laid off, I was at the meeting a couple of years ago when the tax was imposed. And the most arrogant person in the world was Sheriff Swanson. I also go on the internet to find out that the clerk of courts isn't collecting all the fines. She has no way to tell whether the fines have been paid or not.